Prospekt.
So fed up with these critics and these two-faced writers. This right here ain't physics, but get lift up lighter to get flicked through. Million is a green light cycle. When you talk about structure, yeah, you talk about prospect. Yeah, D-Monster Records, Emsee Prospekt in the building. Thank you, Cristopolis, for the invitation today. For all the people that have been my day ones, following me since day one. Tune in today, 5:30 p.m. We got a lot of exclusive news coming in. Cristopolis, let's get it.
From Los Angeles, California, comes rapper, poet, and performing artist Emsee Prospekt. Known for his sharp lyricism, raw delivery, and poetic approach to hip-hop, Emsee Prospekt has been making serious waves in the underground hip-hop scene. Fresh off the release of his newest single, Red Dawn, produced by Afro, Emsee Prospekt is also known for standout projects such as Mind Over Matter and tracks like State of Emergency, The Good, the Bad, and the Psycho, and the explosive single, Three Kings, featuring Afro and produced by Big Duke of Psycho Realm. Tune in to learn about his journey in music, his recent releases, and what he's got coming next at 5:30 p.m. LA, 8:30 p.m. New York.
Let's go ahead and bring him in. Peace,
What's
peace,
up, brother? How
peace,
you
my
doing,
bro.
brother? How you
How you
doing,
doing?
brother?
I'm good, my bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Copy.
Yo, it's an honor to have you on. You've been grinding. You've been tearing it up in 2025. All the work you've been doing, working heavy with some heavyweights, right? Afro, Big Duke, right, and many others. Talk to us about the latest single, right? You just dropped Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
Super lyrical, very dope track. Let's start unpacking some of your
Hey,
work.
thank you, brother. First of all, thank you for the invitation. So Red Dawn is actually in the second album, Mind Over Matter, Part Two. It's definitely a banger. I love what Afro does to the songs with his scratches. You know, salute to Afro. You know, I even have him tatted over here, Afro. So I have much love for my brother from another man, and me and him, we just make this partnership that just blows. It booms, man. I just feel the connection, the chemistry with him from day one when I first met him. Just so respectful, so genuine. Very one of the most humble guys I've ever met. And he hit me up and he told me about you. He's like, man, I love that guy, dude. Like, you're gonna
Appreciate that,
enjoy
bro.
the interview. So yeah, much love to Afro. Red Dawn. It's one of the singles that I just released. It's number 3. So the first one was Mind Over Matter Part Two, where I have a video. I work with Afro Production with that one. Salute to Casper. Um, and that went well, man. That was a little experiment on my behalf. I wanted to do a little intro song, and it was a mission accomplished. I loved it. I loved how it came out. Then I wanted to do something raw, like something raw, I've always looked up to Vinny Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks.
Yeah.
So Red Dawn is just something that I was inspired to do, and looking up to someone like Vinny Paz, it was just crazy. So I had told them from the get-go, there's just some beats. Like, my process to do music is so interesting. So I had told Afro off the bat, I just feel like doing something like Vinny Paz. Like, I just feel that aggressiveness coming from the beat, like it's talking to me. So it was just game over with that, man. And the single before that was State of Emergency. So
Yeah.
that one was pretty aggressive. I was pretty frustrated around that time of that release,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
so
you put
far,
it into the music.
yeah, I'm really grinding. And something that really assisted me on that was getting sober.
Mm.
I don't drink anymore. I stopped November 3rd, so today's like day 206 or so.
Yeah,
But
that's impressive.
it just helps. It helps a lot. Like, the clarity, the way I want a song to be. It's a little bit on my hardest critique, but at the end, it's I see the results. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of artists specifically that are, taking some time to get some space to get more clear. So that's a theme that I've heard recurring um, around a lot of prolific artists. And have you noticed a difference in, like getting sober, and has it made you more creative? Has it had an impact on your output?
yeah, So absolutely, my output is just tremendous. Like I was just talking to Afro about releasing 2 singles a month because of just how much I'm getting in. Like I'm constantly working on music every day. You know, I work night shift, so as soon as I come in at 6:30 in the morning, I'm straight off with my headphones, ready to work, doing lyrics, or I'm working on something like ad libs on my last track that I'm doing. Shout out to Cash One, that's the next release. That's a six-side army member. Salute to Big Duke from Psycho Rum. It's all love with them, man. It's all love with them, and that's my next single. It came out of the out of nowhere. We just started working. I showed up to his house. He did a beat on the spot, and it's called Lock and Load. Keep it 100, and it's gonna get released next for the next month, and I'll be releasing for the first time 2 singles in 1 month for June.
Wow.
So yeah, and then my second single is gonna be with someone great. He's called Skinny Bone Jones, and he's from another country. So I'm trying to expand. I'm working with someone from France. Shout out to Kyo Itachi. He worked with Afro on one of the tracks. We're doing an EP together.
Wow.
We're doing an EP with Cash One. Shout out to Audio P 86 Inca. We got an EP in the works. That's the War Cry track that I did.
Yeah,
Um,
you're
Now I have a
flowing in Spanish on that one.
Yeah, I do Spanish on that one in English. I'm very versatile. I love sometimes I get tedious with writing in English, so I just switch it up. And something that I found intriguing with my brain was that whatever I do in English, I can do in Spanish.
That's
Like
dope.
talking about style wise, like just doing styles, I could do the same thing. And it's pretty interesting just the way my brain works. And
That's
that's kind of one
crazy
of the
because you're doing complex styles, the complex rhyme patterns.
I am, and I try to do, just different styles to show people that I can rock one beat so many different ways. Like that's something that I want to introduce to the world. Like I can do one beat so many different ways, so many different styles, and that's what I want to show people. That I can go slow, take my time with my lyrics. I can go fast, and even though fast lyrics are pretty intense and well written as well. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
something that's simple. So like, for example, my single with Afro P Excerpts,
Hmm.
all that stuff is fast, but it's just crazy lyrics. I love the lyrics. I love the way I write. Like you said, I mean, I'm a poet, and that's how I began with this music journey. I
Yeah.
was a young child entering competitions, doing poetry. So yeah, that was something interesting that you caught on to. So I love
Yeah,
that, man.
yeah. Going through the research on you, I saw that. Maybe if you can unpack that for us and let people kind of know about, when you first started writing, how you got interested in poetry, some of your influences, and how that evolved into actually being an MC and rapping.
So that's a very great question. Thank you for that background question. I started in fourth grade doing poetry, and I entered a competition and I got smacked up, bro. Smacked up. I competed against some good private schools, and they were killing it. And I was just new at it, memorizing lines, performing with my body, and speaking with my arms and being poetic. It was pretty complicated for me, especially
Yeah,
since I'm already a person that's having difficulty expressing himself emotionally growing up.
yeah.
It was totally out of the reach for me, but it was good practice. It was good practice. I got my ass whooped, but it was a learning experience that I never forgot. I never
So
stopped
you
loving
you
poetry.
performed it. So it wasn't just writing. You would actually have to perform the piece.
Yeah, yeah. In the competitions, you would have to compete and perform it in front of your competition and the judges. That's
It's like
how
a
that's how
battle
it was.
rap.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, it feels that way, yeah. So that's just how my journey started with that in fourth grade. Um, and I would receive awards for one of the most read students.
Wow.
So I love reading books. I'm pretty well read. I need to get back on it, but that's how I grew up. And then I was introduced to Sakura in high school, and born in Pico Union, a few
Yeah,
blocks
yeah.
away from Big
That's
Duke.
right. There's heroes.
Yeah, they're my heroes. And then till this day, I used to mess around and, freestyle with my friends and, play Xbox and try to imitate Sick Jackin and Big Duke. Now I'm going to his house tomorrow,
That's
to
so
work on
dope.
the album. And so it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how everything unfolded, and one of my biggest inspirations, especially from my own district. to even, have me, tutor me and be a
Yeah.
mentor to me is just like something that I didn't even expect. The same thing with Afro, everything came with divine timing. Is like what I like to
Yeah.
say. I don't
Yeah.
believe in coincidences. I don't believe in any of that. I just believe that if you put your heart into it, your effort into it, and this your passion is there, I think the universe is gonna play with you.
You
And that's
brother, I agree 100%. I feel that, you know, um, sometimes we try to figure it out, and it's very popular for people to talk about manifesting. I actually think we're not even clever enough. You know what I'm saying? If you put in the work, things that you can't even imagine are gonna happen.
I agree, brother. I remember that day clearly. I was working and I decided to take a longer lunch. I took the risk and I went to the event. Yeah, I've been following Afro since he first started. Got picked up by Rugged Man in the competition.
Yeah,
And that's the first thing that I told him. I've been following you since the competition. RA Rugged Man. He took you all over the world, and I seen the video when you met, DJ Premier and all that. So it was crazy because I pulled up and I see a very tall guy with an afro. I'm like, yo, that's Afro,
that's Afro,
So
right?
that's Afro. So I parked right away. I fucking booked it over there, and yeah, I was right. It was him. So I remember he's just chilling by himself outside, Black Book and Rhymes event, and I went up to him, out of respect, hey, I look up to you, this and that. If you can please, listen to one of my bars that I just wrote recently,
Yeah,
and let me know, give me your opinion and see where I'm at with things. I would appreciate your opinion.
yeah.
Yo, he blew my mind away just the way he reacted. He was like, you know what? Let's step away. We walked like 20, 30 feet, bro,
Wow.
away from the event, away from the noise to give me, proper listening, bro. And I was just like, off the bat, that said a lot about his character.
Yeah,
I lay out the bars and the first two bars, bro, his head is like, and that's one of the songs that I have written in the first album. I talk about when I first met him, how his hair was just up and down, bumping like hydraulics, like low this stuff. So that was just like my
that's
little
dope.
depiction of it. Yeah, and he I told him I had gotten my studio equipment stolen just recently,
Oh
so I
wow.
don't have nothing to record, nothing to use. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll help you out. You can come over to my place and I'll help you record. So
Wow.
that's yeah, dude. That's where everything was born. Like I was never gonna release music. I love doing music behind closed doors. But
Yeah,
when I
like
met
rapping, putting raps together. You grew up as a poet, you write, but then you
yeah,
connected with somebody who really knows how to he knows how to do it.
exactly, and he paved the way for me, man. He taught me so much about music business,
Yeah,
how to work with other people because it's kind of weird, like some relationships in music is kind of strange. You meet so many different personalities that you have to kind of like adjust and get used to everyone and like not take things personal. So you learn
yeah,
so much like just as a person and
yeah.
like self-respect, boundaries and etc. I can go on, right?
Absolutely, bro. Because like in hip hop, there's a street element also, right? So like you got to be careful with some characters, but then it's really dope, right? And there's people with amazing talent. So it's like a very
Double-edged
it's not like
sword.
going to the supermarket. You know what I'm saying? There's like a lot of
Yeah.
characters in the music industry.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, overall, it's been a blessing, man, working with different flavors of sounds,
Yeah.
creations. I was able to witness Afro, make a beat on the spot and put scratches, and it's amazing to see that. And just recently, I saw it again happen with Cash One. That's my boy Cash One right there on the comments, man. Shout out to my boy Cash One Six Side Army. He killed it, man. I told him one song that reminded me of my dad, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And by Pedro Infante. And dude, he did some crazy ass boom bap stuff on it, bro. And I
That's
wrote,
dope.
I killed that verse on the spot because that's what I do. Like the good and the bad and the
Yeah.
psycho. I was introduced that beat in my own home in the living room, and I finished that song in my living room that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, because you got so much experience in writing poetry, also, can you talk to us about, what you were just explaining, but maybe in some more detail about how you put together verses and songs?
Okay. So the first 5 years, because I've been doing music for close to 15 years, and
Wow.
I divided it because I feel like an artist has so many different things to worry about as an artist, like how to speak, speech, lyricism, writing, creativity, brain, the ear. You get to develop an ear for things and sounds. You get to familiarize yourself with your voice and what your voice can do too. So like you just constantly growing, right? But I was able to divide it in sections and categories. And that's how I grew like exponentially. Like it was crazy the way I did it. The first 5 years I focused on lyrics. And the 5 years after that was delivery. Focus on
Oh,
delivery. I laid off on the lyrics, not being so complex, and I kind of like brought it down a gear so
yeah,
I could focus on delivery. And this is
that's
gonna help a
really
lot of artists
interesting.
out there, bro. A lot of artists out there to focus on certain sections that they need improvements in because I would do self-evaluations almost every day. Like I tell people that the first 5 years I didn't miss a day. I did music for
Wow.
between after work every day in my car for between like 5 to 8 hours, 5 to 10 hours a day. And then I would go to sleep. That was my life every day for 5 years. So that was
Wow.
like just the dedication that I had and the love that I had for it. And then it just grew into something else when I met Afro. So the poetry's always been there. My ultimate dream is to publish a book. It's not, related with music. It's to publish a book. That's something, I have a lot of crazy genres that I could go into when it comes down to writing, but I try to express myself on stuff like Poet of the Cycle. I try to
Yeah,
let people know, especially an all-time favorite from people, a lot of fans that I've spoken to is 1 a.m.
I love that song.
Yeah, yeah,
That
it's
song is yeah. On Mind Over Matter, that joint is a banger.
thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, brother. A lot of people love that one, and something that was surprising to me was my brother's song that I dedicated to him, "Lifetime in Paradise." That one's like top four in streams or so, and it was just
Yeah,
an unexpected, song that kind of like was very personal and
yeah,
painful, but people were able to relate and take that to another level for me. So it
yeah.
was
I
beautiful to
found,
do.
a lot of times artists when they feel vulnerable and they open up about their lives and their experiences and things that they've gone through, sometimes that tragedy and things that are hard, people could connect to that, and so those wind up being very popular because people have gone through things. We've all gone through things, so those stories connect. Could you unpack that song about your brother a bit?
Yeah, so basically, the song just explains how when he came back from Africa, he died of malaria. So he came back from Africa, and I was kind of blaming myself because I had COVID at the time, but later on I found out it was malaria. And well, the song speaks about when he came back and having a different aura to him. Like he felt very angelic. Like if anyone knows my brother Benjamin Perez, like everyone said beautiful things about him. He was always very loving, caring. He'll help anyone, any stranger. So I was just talking about how his aura was very beautiful and how I felt lost without him. That he was my beacon. He was something great in my life that, like that was the best way I can express my pain and what I was feeling at the moment. So it's basically focused on him and how I felt at the moment during the whole process because it definitely, backtrack the whole project. It took me
Yeah,
almost 3 years
yeah.
to complete. Besides having Afro, always busy and going out of the country and stuff, and kind of like making up with a schedule. 2 years and something was because I lost my brother and then I lost my dad, and then I lost another major hit. After that, so it was just tough. And I was just rolling through the punches, making every song complete. I ended up just writing it on paper. So I wrote that song for my dad. I wrote that song for my brother.
Right, because
It
there's
was
Benjamin Jr. and then you have Benjamin
yeah,
Sr. and you got those songs right there. It's very powerful the way you laid out the album. It's a heavy album, and
yeah,
it's called Mind Over Matter. So it kind of shows also how you're dealing with a lot of these are some of the most difficult things that a human being could deal with: losing a father, losing a brother.
yeah, yeah. And in my dad's song, something that really stands out for me is he's the one that taught me the definition of what my life meant because I remember stepping the day that my father passed away, which it's I wrote another song for my father and Mind Over Matter Part 2.
Wow.
which explains the whole situation of what happened to him and why he died. So that's going to be pretty huge. And it was malpractice from a
Wow.
hospital, and trying to file a lawsuit, and you're going through the whole lawsuit, and ignoring him in the hospital and stuff. I get very in detail with that song. So that's what I try to do. I stepped in the hospital room, and he sees me. His eyes opened up, and his eyes were sparkling. So he really showed me that my life meant something to someone, at that time. Going through so much darkness, losing my brother who was my everything to me. You kind of like trip yourself out mentally, you have to get yourself and ground yourself. So that's basically what I was doing while I was doing the music, and it was super intense, but like now I feel like, stronger than ever. I
Yeah.
can just withstand anything now, and my mind is just so strong, sober.
Yeah.
The clarity is immense. The clarity is immense. Emotionally, is I'm more contained. Just everything
Yeah.
is a lot better for now. Just the way I write, the way I hear things, the way I want the song to be executed.
Hmm.
Even like it just goes beyond. It goes beyond words.
That's dope, bro. What a beautiful album, Mind Over Matter. When you released it, it was already called Part One. You knew you were going to do a Part Two. Talk
Yeah,
to us about that. Yeah, why, how did you kind of already plan that? Because it's released as Mind Over Matter Part One. Like, prepare.
yeah. Me and Afro, we're on the same page on all those things, man. We really enjoyed doing this project, and we had a lot of memorable times, which I'm gonna be showing later down the line. A few years from now, I'm gonna be making a video of behind the scenes and stuff with Afro. I have
That's
so many videos to just
dope. Right.
creating.
So maybe like at a future moment in time, like a deluxe edition or like a 10-year because the time passes so
So
fast, right?
fast.
You do like four more albums and then boom, it's the 10-year anniversary, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So but that's dope. So you already knew you guys were gonna kind of expand on this.
yeah. The album is basically done. He just told me 2 weeks ago. He's like, bro, you just need like 2, 3 songs more. I'm just like, bro, I have them done, bro. I just gotta execute, finalize them, and then I'll send them out to him. I actually sent him another song just 2 days ago, which is my father's new song,
Wow.
which is crazy because this new album is gonna be insane. Just the whole idea of it. There's three songs in there where I say real life, real talk, and when I say that, that means that it's like a real life story that's about my life. So that's basically the little key word that I'm saying when people want to know more about my life. It's a real story. There it is.
Yeah.
So that's something new that I'm doing.
That's cool.
I'm doing Spanish too, as always. I'm doing Spanish. I have this crazy song coming up featuring a gifted youngster and Afro. I'm gonna be having some other secret features, but I'm gonna release them here. I'm thinking about Suze Mays, Epidemic, Hex One, Rex. Um,
Wow.
I'm gonna bring back Ill Conscious from
Legend.
Latin Lingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be
Yeah. Yeah.
doing like choppers,
That's a
like
really dope track because that had some heavy spitters. You getting it in, Afro, crushing it. The verse on Latin Lingo is so dope where Afro goes through all of like Vicente Fernandez, plus there's all like the names, and then Ill Conscious. I was like, Ill Conscious is on here. That's a really
yeah.
dope track.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, bro. The Three Kings with Big Duke, we got some crazy bangers on that one. I've been holding off on the Big Duke releases because I want to handle that one with great care because I haven't been able to go to his house and connect with him and talk to him about songs and stuff. So that's something I want to do with
That's
him before I
so
release anything
special.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
you shared with us in detail how you connected with Afro and how that relationship has been such a important part of your music career and your growth as an MC. But Big Duke is major. He's a legend. He's a legend in LA, right? Like in so many ways, his story, what he's done. Can you share with us how you connected with him?
okay, so back in the day, I used to party with Sick Jack and Big Duke's cousin.
Oh,
cousin, and one of our
oh,
homies is still dating her now. And one day I hit up my boy Chunky. Shout out to my boy Chunky. I told him like, yo, tell Abraham to like, hit up Sick Jacket and let him know that I want to work with him, this and that. So we spoke. Sick Jacket and I spoke, but Big Duke was the one that was just like 100% in, like I reached out to him and we built that bond together. He found out I was from Pico Union. We went
Yeah.
to the same school, Magnolia, you
Wow.
know. Yeah, it was just around the block on Venice, and Hoover. So it was just crazy that we had so many similarities. And, like I became very close with his mother,
Wow.
I go over his house. I'm very close with his mother. I help him with certain events. I pick up the, merch, the stuff, set up the tables, pick him up, pick up his mom. We have a close relationship. We have, business going on. We have all sorts of stuff when it comes down to music and our relationship. It's goes beyond music. It's
Yeah.
it's another relationship where it's just friendship and brotherhood right there too. So much respect to Big Duke and for giving me the opportunity. For someone that's just, like just starting his career, he definitely saw something in me that, at the moment I didn't see in myself. Same thing with Afro. Like there was just some things that I didn't see in myself and that they help me, see the special qualities that I have inside me for me to like get the courage to even release music,
Yeah.
So because that was just for me, that was for my personal bliss, that wasn't for me. If anything, it caused friction, when I started releasing music because, that's a whole different world of, biting and, like some negative stuff, but that's all part of the ball game, and it takes a thick skin for you to be part of the game, right?
It really does, man, because you get all these characters that come out of nowhere. So, you know what I mean? It's like on the one end, you're like getting to put your music out there and share it with the world, your message, and people feel it and people love it. But I hear stories about weirdos. There's like people, you know what I mean? So you just gotta kind of navigate that,
Yeah.
especially when you're connected with people that are so established, like Big Duke and Afro. Um, you automatically are kind of bumped up a level,
Yeah,
you
yeah. Big
know?
Duke is very stern with that too. He's like, no fucking drama. Straight up.
Yeah,
He's like, no fucking drama, It's just business. I'm a businessman. Like he's about it, He's very straight arrow,
yeah. You gotta
And
be,
you
man.
gotta love that shit because I'm the same way, I'm very straightforward. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. I'm very straight up.
Yeah, yeah. That's dope. So the Mind Over Matter 2 is cooking. It's almost there. Is the project with Big Duke another project, another standalone project with his production?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I introduced Afro because when I first met Afro, I went to his house. He the coincidences, bro. He had Big Duke's face on the freezer, bro. He had a sticker.
That's like the synchronicities.
Synchronicities are insane, right?
Yeah.
Universe was talking to me for sure.
Think of
I ended up in
all the artists in LA, all of the legends that have come out of the West Coast. Afro's bi-coastal. They know him in New York. He's done albums with Marco Polo and Raw the Rugged Man, and he's bi-coastal. You know what I'm saying? He might be from over here, but he's known all over the world. He's got a picture of Big Duke. That's the synchronicity that's incredible.
right, right. I feel like it's the universe talking to me saying, just keep moving forward. Whatever I'm introducing you to, just keep moving forward and use the cards that I'm giving you. So I'm just like trying to do my best, trying to run with my passion, my heart. That's the go-to for me. And then, I let the rest go, like let it all play, let it cruise. Because, if my heart's in it, then, I don't have to worry about it much. I just let it, I just put a beat and if it hits a heartstring, it's game over, bro. I'm gonna be stuck right there, tired or not, bro. I just need food because I can't write. I don't know why, but I can't write if I don't have food in my system, bro. My brain just fucking brain farts like bad
Yeah,
gacho,
yeah, the
dude.
creativity needs that fuel.
Yeah, yeah. Same thing with water, bro. I gotta drink my water, and I'm good.
That's
So
dope. Now, the one thing that you had kind of shared a little bit with us, I want to see if we can unpack it a little bit. You share with us that you started as doing poetry and very early on, and that's where you started writing your first writings were in poetry form, but that you'd love to do a book, and that really is like the end goal. Can you share with us like what you're thinking of? Is it a poetry book? Is it like a fiction? Is it nonfiction?
yeah, so what I want to do is I want to incorporate my life and what I've gone through because I've gone through a lot of like crazy stuff in my life besides what happened in 2024. Just my upbringing, growing up in Pico Union, West Adams, it was very active. So just losing friends. I just want to create a Chicano story that's
Yeah.
going to be able to connect with all Hispanics. that
Yeah.
has, undergone some kind of struggle in a tough neighborhood is going to be having all sorts of, you know, bumps on the road, you can say. In the
Yeah.
book, it's going to be a lot of hurdles to jump, So it's going to be a little interesting book of an artist. So it's going to be sort of like an autobiography fiction type of book. I'm going to be adding some stuff that's fiction, but for the most part, it's going to be about my life.
That's
That's,
really dope. So not a strict biographical book, like fictionalized, but based on
yeah,
things that you've experienced or people that you knew,
yeah.
things that happened in the hood.
Yeah, just add a little bit more excitement. There's some few things. I know I got my boy in here. He was just commenting. His name's Jesse. He was part of my D Mindset Records group. We used to do music together. And we've gone through some crazy stuff in the streets, bro. Like, guns pulled while, my car wasn't running and I'm putting gas. Just funny
Yeah.
stories, bro. And just a learning lesson, stories in the hood that I would like to kind of like dramatize and then, share with the world, in book form. It'll
That's
it'll be a
dope.
little interesting, I also want to get into like horror books, murder books, homicide books.
Yeah.
That's something that's always intriguing
Yeah.
for me, especially with
Yeah.
the 1 a.m. involving like paranormal stuff in the book too, in the situation. I think it would be cool, bro.
Yeah.
I'll have fun with that, but I'll leave that, towards my older days. I'm still gonna focus on music for now and just,
Yeah, we got to
because I
hit them
wanna.
with the hits. We need more records.
Yeah, we definitely do. I have so many songs. Like I honestly have like I would say like maybe 15 songs of just different producers and stuff that I've worked on already that I'm ready to release. So it's always moving, bro. The wheel's always moving. I'm trying to do more photo shoots. I recently just got published. Shout out to Dragonfly Fly
Yeah, I saw
Magazine.
the
Um,
Fly magazine cover.
yeah, yeah, it was just a crazy opportunity that was presented to me by my good friend, also my tattoo artist, and I couldn't say no. So I took that. I really want to get into it now. I want to take more pictures. It's gonna help with my, growing in my page as well. I'm be able to post more things.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna be doing records weekly or maybe twice a week. I have a collection of records that were my brother's too
Yeah.
that I'm just gonna start exposing on my page, start showing people what kind of records I have.
That's dope.
Just little stuff, that relates with music. I'm also doing a platform. I had a few artists come over here where I'm doing an interview,
Yeah.
a little quick interview, 5 minute interview, and then record them laying out their bars for a beat that I've chosen with one of my producers. Shout out to
That's
Architect.
dope. Does that have a
323.
name? Does
Yeah,
that interview format have a name? Talk to us
yeah.
about the show.
The platform is going to be called Ill Mindset Ciphers. Ill Mindset Ciphers, and I'm getting the logo worked on right now. I've had my boy on the first episode. Shout out to Big Irk the Terrible. He was the first artist to come in and lay that shit out. So shout out to him. There's no hesitation. He's always on the ball. He's always working hard. So shout out to Big Irk the Terrible. He killed it. I had my boy Big Ace from Six Side Army. That's my partner right there. He just came in and killed it. We have a few more artists like Underdog that's gonna be here. We have my boy Golden Buddha that's out of state. That's part of the Afro Familia because we have Motion Plus who did a project with Afro. Shout out to Motion Plus. Shout out to Golden Buddha released an EP where I was on Masters, Mad Masters. We had that track right there. That was a killer. Yeah, man. I'm just going. I'm going. I'm not stopping.
Don't stop,
I gotta keep it
bro.
moving.
That's dope. And the other thing I wanted to ask is that you've got all the work that you've been doing with Afro, right, and Big Duke. Do you know in what order the projects are going to come out?
Yeah, yeah. I want to leave some space for Mind Over Matter to breathe, and I'm gonna be bringing out Big Duke Project next. That's what I'm gonna be
Yeah.
doing. Big Duke Project is next. These two singles that are gonna get released next month are gonna be two separate projects, but after those two, I'm dropping Big Duke. So now you guys know. The July drop, it's gonna be a Big Duke track, and hopefully Dangerous Minds is completed with all my features by September.
What is that? The Dangerous Minds one. What's that one?
That's the fourth single on my Mind Over Matter Part 2. that I'm saving that's gonna be a banger of just chopper rappers, like fast rappers like Gifted Youngster, Afro, myself, and a few other ones that I mentioned previously. Like they're just killers on the mic, and I feel like that we're in the same category of what we can do.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
kind of wanted to do like a chopper track
yeah, yeah.
for everyone to
Like
listen
just
to.
get all the spitters on there and just that's
It'll
dope.
be fun, man. And then I'm gonna do a roll call track that I'm still gonna add there, and I'm gonna be
What's the
including
roll call? What is
a
that?
roll call is basically gonna be like Dangerous Minds, but it's gonna be more of like a cipher. Dangerous Minds is a track,
Yeah,
like a song. But the roll call is gonna be more like a cipher where I'm gonna have artists just go back to back and throw bars. It was just my closest artist friends who I've had, you know, privilege to know in my journey that I started with music. So I'm gonna be bringing them along and putting them on a roll call.
that's dope, man. There's a lot. There's a 2025 and I think 2026 because there's just too much happening to get it all. You know what I mean? It's gonna be really big for you. You've got Deep Mindset Records. Can you talk to us about that? Who's a part of that and what that is?
Yeah, so D Mindset Records was just a dream. It started with my boy Jesse, and shout out to my boy George, who was seven. It was just three members. We used to rap, and we're the ones that would imitate Psycho Rom, Big Duke, and stuff. That was us. And yeah, that's where it started. I started a crew called D Mindset Records, and Holy Trinity was the first name because it was three of us. It's funny
Yeah,
stuff. And that's how it started, man. We used to do raps, and it evolved to something like I want to help people record, man. I was the one struggling before
yeah,
finding a place to record, bro. Like I don't want that for people. That's a struggle in itself where you're holding your dream back because you can't record. I
yeah,
I feel like that's fucked up, and if I can do something about it, then I'm gonna do something about it.
yeah,
Like there's people that I've been helping. Shout out to so Deep Mindset Records. Shout out to Era. It's one of my newest members in Deep Mindset Records. She's such a beautiful singer. She's one of my closest friends. Her real name is Emily, but her artist name is Era. And we just killed the track where she's singing on it too. Just like I have so many tracks, brother. I have another track called Over Your Heads. That's fucking insane. It's just I don't know, man. I'm killing shit. But shout out to Era. I have an engineer that just came into the group. He's been helping me out a lot, and with delivery, and he's just giving me pointers.
yeah,
He's my engineer. His name's Edwards, and I actually met. He's a colleague of mine. I met him at work. It's funny how things
yeah,
work,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, you're there. You need an engineer, and
He,
boom, the engineer appears.
it appears, man, like Houdini, bro. Just disappears and appears like Houdini. So it was cool. And to top it off, bro, talking about synchronicities, bro, he lives like down the block,
That's crazy.
right?
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, it's just I've been blessed, man. I try to be righteous with everyone. I try to, be a good person. Always bettering myself as a person, as an artist, as a family member, as a colleague. I'm always trying to do better, bro.
Yeah,
And I don't see something that I really appreciate that I tell people is, I don't know what it is to feel jealousy. I don't know what it is to feel envy. Because
mm,
when someone succeeds and something good happens to someone's life, it makes me smile, bro. It makes me happy, genuinely
that's dope,
happy
bro.
for you, bro. So that's something that I don't have a problem with, bro. Like I appreciate that God blessed me with that, because I feel
Yeah,
like that's a
it
gift, you know,
is. Yeah,
because that
it
stops
is.
people from helping each other too,
Yeah,
like collaborating. It stops from people like from doing wonders, bro. If you just work together, sometimes like Afro and I, man, like if we were to put our ego, it's not gonna work. So yeah, dude, like it's just amazing how everything's just been flourishing.
yeah. And you're right. I think I have some of that too, where I don't really feel jealousy and envy. I can't take credit for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just kind of made that way. Like I actually get a lot of joy from seeing other people succeed. And I know that some people don't have that. Like a lot of people don't have that
Yeah,
actually. The people kind of sometimes they don't clap when people win. And that's something they got to work on. They want to, but they just feel like, and I'm always like, bro, there's enough sunshine for all the trees. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
like
it truly is a gift.
yeah, like they say, it's not gonna hurt you to support, anyone else. So it should really be that way, like you should be able to support everyone and just anyone who's actually pursuing the same dream as you.
Yeah,
I think that should be vital, and that's gonna help everyone just grow all together as a group. You know, like just so yeah, it's been a quite a journey. I'm definitely going the right direction. I feel like the clarity is just tremendous, so I can see where I'm going with things,
that's
and I'm
dope.
building things up. I'm like stockpiling all these tracks, these projects, where I tell people I have like 3 years already done right now. Like I can release project, I could chill, and then the next two,
Right.
3 years I have projects already ready to go.
That's dope, bro. That's
So
dope.
I'm just like, oh man, I gotta keep going so I can make it 5 years, I can make it 7 years, and then maybe
Hmm.
I could take a year off.
Like
But
Tupac, bro. Tupac was gone, and they just kept rolling.
fuck yeah, and I gotta something that I do gotta work on is doing videos because I only
Yeah, I
have
wanted to ask you about that because you do have some visuals, and they're dope, right? Talk to us about plans that you have for the upcoming album. Maybe there's a single, right? That you're thinking about. Like, I guess there's no video for like 1 a.m., right?
no, and
Yeah,
you know what?
because
That's
that's the one I was like, how's there not a video for this
yeah.
song?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like that's gonna take a lot of like effects and seriousness with professionals and stuff to get my vision. I don't want to do a mediocre vision because I have such a big vision, like a movie like vision for it.
Yeah,
And what I had said, I want to connect the Port of the Cycle and the 1 a.m. together and do a whole video for those two. And yeah, and I have like an idea of how to do it, and I just it's gonna take a lot of money, but I'm gonna make it happen,
yeah. And
because
I think that it's a thing for artists to like really get comfortable with the idea that videos and things related to music that they create does not have to come out exactly when the album comes out. Like if you drop an album and then maybe you do like another album or whatever, and for whatever reason you connect with the right resource or you get the right economic situation and you want to go back and shoot a video for a classic, by all means do that, man, because people still rocking with those tracks that they love you for. You know what I mean?
that's pretty cool. You say that Afro said the same thing, bro. He's
That's
like,
dope.
to just keep pushing music out. You could do the videos again, do them later down the line, but keep the music pushing. And he's like, bro, like when you release a video, it's gonna be like another release date in a way, right?
Yeah,
With visual, people are
absolutely.
gonna be like, damn, I can't look at it on YouTube, but let me play it on Spotify real quick. Boom. I kind of think those little things
Yeah.
sometimes, and I
Yeah,
think it's
absolutely.
vital.
And there's so much out there that you're always kind of like, as a creative artist, always trying to find ways to, take their content and put it right back on top. It's like we only have so much space in our minds, and some people are really good at like putting it back right in front of you. And so the
Yeah, yeah.
video works as doing that.
Yeah, some people just know like the rhythm and how to like really recycle stuff, bro.
Yeah,
And they even make it seem even more poppy too on the next release. Like, yo, I need to learn some of these tactics and what they're doing.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
there's a
it's
lot to
it's a
learn in
it's
this game. A lot to
it
learn in
never
this game with
stop, and the
marketing.
technology is always changing, right?
Yeah, like for example, the AI stuff and like the chat GPT, and it's pretty interesting
Dude,
where that's going on.
that's that's here to have, I think, more impact, probably ultimately more impact than what social media did and what the internet did. And it's hard to like fathom that, but I think that that's what's coming is when this thing starts talking to this is the dumbest one we're ever going to have. The one we have right now is the dumbest one. That's such a crazy idea that the
Yeah,
one in 2 years or in 4 years is smarter than us and could give you suggestions to, if you know how to use it. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I actually was stuck on conversating with Chat GPT for hours at work because I work night shifts,
Yeah.
and I'm just over here trying to crack stuff like what are the Akashi records? Like what are the Dead Sea Scrolls? And I'm like doing all these weird ass fucking questions, but it was so intriguing, bro. But I can see where it's going. Like me and Big Duke and I were talking about that. Like imagine if you can write your own lyrics and then have the AI copy your voice and then bring Big Duke back. So we're talking about kind of working with some type of AI stuff to bring him back.
It's really interesting. Yeah, and I think that that's a really dope idea. Well, um, that's probably gonna happen. There's no reason why it wouldn't happen because you could take you could take all of the I love this space. I love that space, you know. You could take all of his old recordings, right? So it gets the voice
Yeah,
patterns, right?
yeah,
And then, you know, if it's actually, you know, it's him, he's approving lyrics and collaborating and working with, you know, perhaps you or whoever, and then he approves it. It's
that's,
official.
yeah. It's game.
If that's it.
Yeah, he's back. So that's something that we're talking about,
That's
and I'm not sure where
so
he's at
crazy.
with
That's
it.
so dope.
Yeah, we don't know where he's at with that. We haven't touched base on that for a few months, but I know he spoke to I think Cash One, or I believe one of the Six Side members about it too.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I love, you know, there's always two sides to the coin, right? So like there's a lot of like dystopian future, apocalyptic, you know, what's gonna happen. And then there's really creative, dope things like what you're talking about the potentiality of new Big Duke album with his voice approved by him, you know, potential, right? Like those types of ideas I think are very beautiful and powerful.
I agree with you, brother. I can't
Yeah.
wait for that day to actually come. If it
Yeah.
ever comes, sometime soon, that'll be heaven for me, bro.
Yeah, bro. That's really
Yeah.
dope. My bro, it's been such an honor building with you. I want to make sure that, you know, if there's any jewels, any final jewels you want to drop or people you want to shout out, we capture that as we start to wrap up.
Yeah, let's see. We have new colors coming out for my merch. We had the hoodie on the pre-video that I sent you with the blue hoodie. That's
Yeah.
part of my line. We have royal blue, red, black, and we're gonna be bringing army green in. So
That's
that's
dope.
gonna
And where
be the,
can people get them? Where can they get the dope hoodie?
directly with me. Just DM me. I don't think the sales are as high as I wanted them to be for me to open up an internet
Yeah.
website for it for now. I'm just gonna manage it myself with, my DMs and whatever communication they might use.
Yeah, and cause Shopify and the stores, man, they take a percentage too, bro. It's annoying. Like I've looked into all of that stuff, and when you start looking at the numbers, like a lot of things, man, like they know the numbers better than anybody because that's their business to know it, and they take your profit margin.
Yeah, it's only convenient if you have large numbers. It's gonna be convenient in that manner
Yeah.
only. But I have small sales. Like I invested about maybe 2K, a little over 2K on
Wow.
my merch, and I had like two big bags loaded, and everything was good, everything was great. It went out pretty fast. I
That's
just have a
dope.
few shirts right now and a few hoodies that I have put to the side that I have to send
Congratulations,
out.
bro. That's good.
Thank you, thank you. I actually profited pretty well.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah,
That's dope.
I
So
should
you
have,
got the new colors coming of the hoodies.
yeah.
Any other merch do you want people to know
Yeah, I'll
about?
be having the sweatpants, but that's gonna be for the winter time. I'm gonna have like a set, and for the summertime, I'll be having a little muscle shirt that's gonna be added on. Yeah,
That's dope.
and we have designs already done and made, and I paid for some designing to be done, and that's already done. It's been months since it's been settled. I have season 2 and season 3 done, so
That's dope, bro. You're grinding.
I'm grinding, bro. I'm grinding in different areas, and that's Big Duke. Thanks, Big Duke. Big Duke is the one that put me up on the merch stuff. So, hell yeah, salute to Big Duke,
Yeah.
and thank you, most definitely, thank you for I've looked up to you and your
Appreciate
shows and what
you,
you're
bro.
doing for the movement for hip hop, and for me to receive that message was just mind blowing to me, bro.
Thank
So I
you,
just wanted
brother.
to thank you
Thank
and for being a great, you interview great, and you could tell you love this shit, man.
I do. I do, man. And you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna keep building and I'm excited about Mind Over Matter 2 dropping, the Big Duke album, the new merch, everything, brother. Salute to you.
Oh,
Thank you
hey,
so much.
brother, August 3rd, opening up for Afu Ra. We're gonna be doing that. So, if you're available, I'm gonna contact you.
All
I'll have a
right.
ticket for you ready to go.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
brother. Thank you for your time, man. Salute, and thank you for everyone listening, man.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Thank you. Peace.